Hello, welcome to Star Wars Spelt Out. This is your host, Josh Chapman speaking, and today we don't have a guest in the studio for the first time for a few. We're back on the Skypes. We've gone interstate. We've gone up to New South Wales, which is the Shelbyville of Victoria, where I am, basically. I think we're going to Sydney, I believe, which is even more of the Shelbyville of Melbourne, of where we are. And we're getting in with a guy who's been on the list for a long time of people I wanted to get in, and of the sort of crew of people I know, he's been an outstanding name on the list, and he came into a little bit of free time, so he said he was up for a bit of a chat. So it's Matthew Thurbon. Hey man, how you doing?
Well, thanks, Josh. Thanks for the Simpsons reference, Shelbyville. But no, thanks for inviting me along. I didn't realise there was an actual list, so I'm happy to be on that list.
Yeah, you have been. Yeah, when I sort of started this a while ago, oh gosh, what are we up to, 34 or 35 now? It was like, who's the people I want to get on? I want to get, people like Matt and Emily Lind and Andy and Catherine and, people sort of I know in the community and chat to on the regular and stuff. And your name was always there, and we just managed to get to you now, really. It's probably a little, don't take it as an insult that it's taken this long.
No, I've always been busy. So, as people may know, I've been on a bit of gardening leave, so I'm in between jobs at the moment. So this is a very easy time for me to talk, and normally I'm working at this time of night. So, yeah, I've got lots of free time to talk Star Wars.
Yeah, that's what we like. I thought you'd just be using all this free time just to be, watching movies during the day. And
no, I've been hard at it doing jobs around the yard. So it's actually supposed to rain tomorrow in Sydney. It's there's some massive storms coming. So maybe I'll use tomorrow to get in and watch a bit of Star Wars. Was there storms in Melbourne last week?
Yeah, we had them. Yeah, last week we had them. They were shocking, and I'd spent the last 2 weeks trying to get my pool from dark brown to blue, which has been my project, and I managed to actually pull it off finally, and it looks gorgeous. And then we got 3 days of storms, and it just dumped a whole bunch of rainwater in. But actually, luckily, it didn't. It's still blue. It's just got a bit of crap in it, so I was pretty happy with that. Once you kind of managed to get it there, it's not going into too much pool talk, but once you manage to get the pool blue, and I was pretty proud of myself because it looked like it. Yeah, think about as bad as a pool could look.
Well, don't tell me that, because we actually just submitted a DA for a pool just today. So we're going through that. It's probably going to be next summer by the time it's done, but we just submitted the plan. So anyway,
is it going to be under any trees?
Oh yeah, we've got plenty of trees, but a few of them have got to go. So yeah, but yeah. Anyway, pool talk.
Make way, trees. Fun, Dad funds here with the pool, so out the way, trees.
Yes.
Well, hang on. You started talking about working in the garden. I swore I saw a social media post where you were at the cricket. So
oh yeah, I was at the cricket, of course.
Too bad.
Yeah, I can't miss out on the cricket. Sunday afternoon.
Yeah, exactly.
I did my jobs for the day, and
treat yourself to a little bit of cricket. Yeah,
you've always got to treat yourself.
Oh yeah, look, I love the cricket. I love when cricket season starts. So I'll have a brand new baby in a few weeks, so I'll be home a lot. So hopefully I'll be able to just sit on the couch and watch cricket.
But it's not on. It's not on TV anymore. It's not on free to air unless you have Fox.
I know. I've got Fox. Well, it's a lot of it. All the Test cricket is still on. Some of it's still on free to air, but all of it's on Fox, which is the pay TV, which I've just kept. So yeah, we're in the thing. But all right, we could talk cricket. We could call this the cricket pod, and I would be more than happy to do that. But
let's get Frush on and do a cricket podcast. Why not?
No, Peppa Pig and cricket. Yeah, I would love that. I would love that. Yeah, all right. Well, we'll put that on the back. All the best ideas happen on air on the record. But so yes, you're a big Star Wars guy. You're pretty active on the social medias. You sort of dip in, dip out and stuff. Always got things to say, which is good. So where you feeling? How you feeling about Star Wars at the moment in this little lull period that we're sitting in?
Oh, look, I don't even see it as a lull, to be honest. Like, I've got so many books to catch up on, and there's so many announcements of new things that, yeah, I mean, as much as I'd love to see something at Christmas, it's going to be a bit weird at Christmas not having Star Wars, but there's so much for me to catch up on. I've got Resistance. I've got all these half-read books and novels that I haven't read. So for me, it's not really a lull. It's a bit of time to catch up, actually. So, but
Do you try to be as completionist as possible, or do you kind of just go, look, this stuff I'm just not going to get to? Do you like, if I can, I'll get to everything?
I'll try to get to everything. I got through Rebels eventually. Some of it was good, some of it was bad, but I got through it with my kids. And I'm usually, look, I'm the world's biggest procrastinator, so usually I'm way behind on everything. So I'm never up to date. So I have no clue what's happening in the Star Wars world this week. So hopefully you can update me.
Well, it was weird actually because there was they were talking obviously like a bit of the Cassian stuff, and they were talking a bit of the Mandalorian stuff as well, and then a couple of like stories are floating around on Twitter today. Like I don't usually talk about Twitter speculation and stuff, but they were talking about like an Obi-Wan movie filming, and
Oh, I did read
there
that.
was
That
like
was
a
a bit.
Padme one as well, and I don't really know
There's something about
where that came from.
George Lucas directing somewhere in Ireland, an Obi-Wan movie or something. Is
Yeah,
that right?
I'm
I don't
just
know.
doing this is the thing that the thing I learnt from Steele Saunders, our buddy, about if you're recording a podcast, you bring something up,
You got to
you've
talk
got
it.
to follow through and look it up while you look it up. So I'm just quickly looking up on the yeah.
And wasn't there also something? I think I read it yesterday about there was a young Luke Skywalker sh- shot in the
Yeah.
Force Awakens,
So
the
just
Force
in
back scene. Yeah,
Yeah, just in regards to the Obi-Wan one, this is very strange. It's basically saying the former UK Foreign Secretary Boris Johnson delivered a speech at the DUP conference in Northern Ireland over the weekend, where the politician made an unexpected reference to upcoming plans, where he said, "What was the biggest grossing movie last year? Star Wars. And where does George Lucas propose to make his follow-up about Obi-Wan Kenobi? Northern Ireland." Now,
that's a bit odd.
I don't
Wasn't he
know
the guy
if
that
you
stuffed up all the Brexit
Yes, I was just going to
stuff?
say, I
Or
don't know
yeah,
if you know much about Boris Johnson, but I lived in England pretty much peak Boris Johnson when he was the mayor of London. And they used to call him Boris the Buffoon. And he was actually, he was an interesting character. He was actually a reasonably savvy politician just because he managed to sort of get himself into positions of power quite a lot. And he basically made a power play for the prime ministership off the back of Brexit. And that when
and
David
failed
Cameron resigned, when
miserably.
Brexit got through,
Yeah,
yeah, he basically kind of positioned himself to try and become prime minister, which didn't happen, and then he was promptly ousted from the cabinet. I think he is still actually a backbencher now, but I don't know how much he knows about Star Wars. If he's just sort of, I don't know. Would you be giving Boris Johnson your crucial Star Wars information?
nah, wouldn't trust him. Wouldn't trust him at all.
No, I barely trust him to drive a bus or something like that. But that's quite interesting. Well, I didn't read because I saw a few tweets about it, and just going, oh, okay, it's just more clickbait nonsense. But I'm glad I actually clicked on the article because just the tie into Boris Johnson is just that little bit more bizarre. It's just a bit, yeah.
And
That feels like a movie poop shoot kind of thing.
yeah, Kevin Smith references. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, what about the young Luke Skywalker one? I saw a photo floating around. It looked a bit suspect, but
Yeah.
yeah.
It looked like some really awesome cosplay, didn't it? So what that was that when they shot the Force back scene where Rey has the vision, and you can see a little bit of it in the film where they kind of have the hallway in Empire Strikes Back where Luke and Vader are fighting, and Luke's kind of got his back to screen, and they're kind of hitting the walls with the lightsaber and stuff. So apparently that was going to appear in Rey's vision.
Mm.
So, and I think they actually filmed it. Well, they went to all the trouble of getting a guy, I guess, who was physically close to Luke. That I'm assuming they were going to just shoot from the back.
Yeah.
And and they were going to put him in there. So I guess that that photo has found it's surfaced. It's quite an interesting photo, isn't it? Have you seen it?
Yeah, I saw it just a couple of hours ago. I was just I was a bit suspect, but it looks legit.
Yeah. Look, it certainly fits in with the narrative. I had heard that was something that had sort of been shot and stuff. Like I don't think it was going to be. Yeah, like you weren't going to see him from the front. Like I'm sure that he wasn't going to be. You weren't going to see his face, or they might have CG'd, Mark Hamill on there. But I think the whole idea was that it was supposed to be shot from the back.
Right.
although it looked like if they were just doing that, like why don't you just use the footage from The Empire Strikes Back? Like surely they could just use a computer and stick that little bit of footage in and do it. But maybe they were doing a slightly different angle or something. But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah, but apart from that, I don't know what else is going on this week. Perhaps nothing really.
Yeah, well, I mean that's something. That's for something where there isn't actually there's no movie coming out in the next year and a half or whatever it's going to be. Or actually, no, it's closer to a year now, I guess. Now that we're getting closer to that, but yeah, this all the sort of the TV stuff's just kind of ticking along and getting little more things of that. There was a bit of talk that Carl Weathers has been confirmed or going to be confirmed for being in The Mandalorian.
Oh no way! Was that?
Which is pretty.
Wasn't that just the? Has that actually been confirmed or?
I think it's everything but.
Right. Okay. I'll have to.
Yeah. So, I mean, Carl Weathers, Predator, Apollo Creed, Arrested Development. I always like him in Arrested Development where he's like a real tight ass and stuff, which is always quite funny. But
very interesting.
So
yeah.
I don't know anything about who they'll be in and things, but it seems like all the little leaks and stuff that the Making Star Wars guys have been pretty spot on already. So there doesn't seem to be any need to question that. So yeah, news wise, it's all sort of ticking along, kind of going. It's a bit sad that there's no December screening this year.
Yeah, look, as I said, I wouldn't mind something, but there's a lot of stuff to look forward to. We've got Celebration's actually pretty close. I'm actually a bit freaked out. I haven't booked my flights. I've got my 5-day pass. Haven't booked my flights. Haven't booked accommodation. But yeah, as I said, I'm the best procrastinator in the world. I think if that was a superpower, that would be mine. Procrastination.
Well, I've booked my flights and we've booked our accommodation. So if you get stuck, mate, we've already mentioned you can always sleep on the couch or something like that. As long as the Airbnb people don't find us. But I don't think. I think that'll be a problem.
I might have to take you up on that.
Yeah, you could do that, or I think it's the sort of people I've spoken to. It seems like that, like the Bad Motivator boys are going to have a place, and a few other people are going to have things around. So hopefully there'll be a little bit of the thing about the Celebration is just like the convention hours are probably only sort of 10 till 5 every day, I assume, and then you kind of do stuff afterwards.
Yeah,
that's the sort of the great unknown, really, isn't it? That after they go, all right, everybody out for the day, like what happens then? Do you just go out to dinner or go to the pub? Or
I guess
I don't really.
I guess it's a fairly big city, so you got to make sure you're pretty close to everyone that you want to hang out with. So yeah, interesting.
Yeah, well, that's right. Well, that's the thing. I guess if people are like, oh, look, I think we're about. I sort of got the Google map out from where we were staying, and we were about like a 20-minute taxi ride, which is pretty reasonable, to the convention center. So if everyone's sort of in a similar vicinity, I guess you go, well, we don't want to go home and go out again. You'll just go from there to somewhere else if people want to hang out, or you might have been sick of the same faces after a couple of days during the day. You might be like, oh, I just want to get away, get some time to myself.
Yeah, it's going to be fun though. But that's what I'm looking forward to. It's closer than you think, so I better get onto that flight. So.
Well, I'm flying United via Los Angeles, so I can send you my flight details if you want to try and get on the same flight. Although I'm going direct from Melbourne to LA, so I'm assuming you'll be flying from Sydney. So
yeah, we'll figure it out.
You never know. We'll figure it out. There's still things to do. I'm actually flying via San Francisco on the way back and having a few days there. So I haven't organised my accommodation in San Francisco yet. That's the one thing I haven't done yet. And
don't forget to check out the Yoda fountain at Lucasfilm headquarters.
Yeah, I'd love to do that. Yeah. Is Lucas? Do you know anything about Lucasfilm? Is it actually in the city, or is it kind of like?
No, so I've actually been there twice. So my job last time sort of took me to the Bay Area, and at both times I visited the Lucasfilm headquarters. It's in the Presidio, so it's in the very north of San Francisco, in the sort of parklands. But there's a whole lot of buildings up there. So it's far north, and it's obviously not open on a Sunday, but you can just go there and hang out in the Yoda fountain. But if you go there midweek, you can hang out in the lobby and maybe try and get a tour off someone that you might know. But apparently you can just
really?
There's no real official tours, but you can hang around in the lobby. There's a few few sort of statues in there. I think there was a K2SO last time I was there. But it's just a really cool place to go as well.
They just let people just kind of rock up.
Yeah, it's weird. Like they don't let people go on tours or let people in, but you can sort of hang around the foyer and yeah.
I guess they're so used to people wanting to do it. It's like it's easier just to say, "Oh, look, you can come in here and have a little bit of a look around, and then rack off if you don't have
That's
any
right, yeah.
business." Rather than being like, "This is an exclusion zone. You can't," like it's. Yeah. I suppose that's the same as a lot of buildings. Like I work for a major bank, and our building you can walk into you can walk it off the street and hang around in the lobby. There, it's a big corporate. It's no different to anything else, is it? Really, it's just like, if you want to get into a certain part of the building, you've got to basically either have an appointment or have someone come and get you.
That's right, yeah. But the other thing you should check out is Rancho Obi-Wan. It's a little bit further out. It's probably about half an hour, sort of north of San Francisco, up in I think Petaluma. But you have to book that in advance. So if you're looking at that, it's probably a whole day trip, to be honest. By the time you get out there and do that, but
I'd be definitely keen to do that.
Yeah, it's definitely worth it.
The only thing is because it's going to be right after Celebration, so I guess is it Steve Sansweet that's who runs it?
He does, yeah. He doesn't always do the tours, but you can check online and you can see which tours he's running, and you can pick one of them. But yeah, you're right. You probably need to book it right now.
Yeah, but if it's sort of right after Celebration, he might be like, "Hey man, I'm sort of Star Wars out for a little bit." But I'll definitely have to look into that. I don't know if that's possible. The guy who has the world's biggest Star Wars collection is all of a sudden Star Wars out. He's like, even I get started sometimes.
No, he lives and breathes it. He loves it. He loves it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. I can't wait. It's going to be it's going to be exciting. It'll be like you said, closer than it is, closer than you think. Yeah. So. Now you've got two boys.
Yep, two boys. It's 11 and 6.
11. So how do they feel about Dad going off to Star Wars Celebration without them? I'm assuming without them.
Yeah, I did think of taking my older son Luke. Obviously, it's called Luke, but
nice.
But yeah, he's I took him to a few of the Powerhouse Museum ones in Sydney. And he's kind of over it by the end of the day, so I can't imagine a 5-day trip.
You're like, hey, now you got to front up again tomorrow, and then again tomorrow.
That's right. I don't think the stamina's quite there, and I mean, he loves Star Wars, of course, but not to the same degree that I do. So, but well,
it's hard for a kid to do anything for 10 hours straight, regardless how much they love it.
That's right.
And your younger son, he's a sort of, he's not as concerned?
No, he's not concerned. I mean, he's pretty much into Resistance at the moment. That's about all.
He's like right in the demographic, isn't he? I guess he's sort of right in the sweet spot.
Yeah. My older son's not really that into it, but sweet spot of 6 years old. I mean, I'd love to have that show when I was 6, but yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
considering...
We're living in the golden age of Star Wars. To be honest, there's so much happening. I mean, when I was 6, I think I was Empire Strikes Back, 1981. Yeah, I was probably about 6 then. But after Return of the Jedi, there was nothing. It was just a lull and a few Ewoks cartoons, and that's it. So
and I've talked about this before. It's like, people get uppity and go, Resistance is for kids or whatever. It's like, go back and watch some of those 80s cartoons. They are terrible. They're terrible to sit through. They're almost unwatchable, some of them.
Yeah.
It's like He-Man and stuff as well. He-Man's terrible. What else is terrible? Voltron's terrible, and those Ewoks cartoons are terrible. And yeah, the bar was set a lot lower.
That's right. I mean, I think nostalgia kind of clouds your vision a bit. I was in my spare time I was mucking around with those classic Nintendo systems, the new ones they released with the obviously they don't come with Star Wars on them, but there was a Star Wars and Empire Strikes Back game, and I was like, I used to love this as a kid. I don't have the cartridges anymore, but so I decided to do a hack on the NES, and I put Star Wars and Empire on there, and I had to play with Empire, and those games are ridiculously hard, and like
they are hard as shit.
I could not get off Hoth at all. Like I'm done. I don't know if it's me, but and the game's not that interesting. interesting to be honest.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think, as I said,
I had
nostalgia
a
clouds your vision, and you think things were so much better then. But yeah,
no, you're spot on with those, because I had this sort of tablet thing that I got ordered from China, and it was like almost like the Wii U, but it was way more budget, and you could basically hack it and just stick a bunch of ROMs on it. So it had controllers on it. It was like a touch screen tablet, and it had controllers on the side, and you could put Nintendo ROMs and Super Nintendo ROMs. So I put like heaps and heaps of stuff on there. So I had like all the Star Wars games and all the Super Star Wars games and stuff as well. And they're so hard. They're so hard. And when you've got, every Nintendo game possible, your patience is so thin. You play it for about 20 minutes and you get nowhere. You're like, all right, this one's done.
exactly.
Like, I'm
Done.
moving on.
Yeah.
What else have you got? And now, I've been playing Red Dead Redemption 2, and I'll sit on a horse for an hour, to get from one side of the countryside to the next. So like, this is a real game. Here I am just clumping along on a horse for half an hour because I've got to get to the other town on the other side of the thing.
But there are a few old games that sort of, I don't remember playing it, but I found there was a Friday the 13th Nintendo game. And
oh, really?
yeah,
kids.
No, yeah, exactly. But I was playing it the other night, and because I've got spare time, obviously, but it's actually a really good game to play. I just didn't know it existed. So I'm going to go back to that tonight and try and get through it. But
so have you got the mini Nintendo and the mini Super Nintendo?
Yeah, I got both.
The Nintendo?
Yeah.
I got both. Yeah. I've got the Super Nintendo one, and I've actually got an original. My brother gave me an original Super Nintendo, so I've got that as well. And that's been busted out a few times, but it's actually just sitting on it. It's sort of ornamental at the moment. It probably really should be plugged into the TV, but I've just got so much other crap plugged into it at the moment, so I haven't quite got to it. So when Solo came around this year, did you take your boys to Solo sort of opening day?
Generally, I do midnight sessions with my friends who've sort of been seeing since the Phantom Menace, I guess, midnight sessions. So, yeah, my boy.
So what did you do for... sorry to interrupt. I was going to ask, what did you do for Last Jedi? Because we met at the Last Jedi premiere down in Melbourne.
Exactly.
The Star Wars one.
With that one, was supposed to be down in Melbourne for work, so I booked the midnight session at Knox, thinking I'd see that, and then my work trip got cancelled, and then I thought, oh well, I've still got these tickets, I might as well just go, right? And so I ended up going to Melbourne, I think for 12 hours, I think it was. So basically
I remember.
flew down, in the afternoon, went out to Knox, had a few drinks, a few too many drinks as well, with you guys. And, tried to stay awake, and then flew back the next morning, and I actually went back to work at about 10 o'clock.
I know, because I remember sort of having the conversation going, oh, mate, like if you want, I could put you on the couch at my house if you want. And you're like, no, I've just got to push through. Like if I try to sleep or I try to do anything like that, I'm just going to be done. Like I'm better just to stay awake and just because I think I finished the movie finished at about 2:30, because about maybe longer. It's 2.5 hours long.
Yeah.
Jedi. And then there was about 20 minutes before Steele's show got going, and then that went for probably close to 2 hours. So I reckon it was probably about 5 by the time we got out of there in the morning. And then I actually ended up driving Andy Campbell home because his girlfriend had dropped him off. And then I said, oh, how are you getting home, man? He's like, oh, I'm just going to message her and then she's going to come and pick me up. And I'm like, I'll drive you home, mate. Don't message your girlfriend at 5 in the morning and say, come and pick me up from my Star Wars thing. So I drove him home. And then I think by the time, it was definitely almost daylight by the time I got home, which is about, 6 in the morning, I reckon.
Yeah, look, I don't regret that at all. I mean, that could be the last one. You never know. I mean, Steele's over in LA with his new boy, Harrison, and he's probably not going to come back to Melbourne for a midnight session. So I think that's probably the last one, to be honest.
Yeah, well, that's right.
So I'm glad I did it. Met a lot of good people that, Frush and you guys and Andy and Catherine, everyone. So it was, I don't regret those things. you can sleep when you're dead, so I'm happy with that.
Sleep while you're dead.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right.
That'll be I think I get a feeling that's going to be the mantra at Celebration. I think it's going to
Yeah.
be a little bit of sleep while you're dead.
Well, that's the same with
Yeah.
Celebration too. Like I figure I kind of get the feeling this will be the last big one. Sort of episode nine's kind of closing it off, or at least the trilogy or the sequel trilogy.
The Skywalker saga.
Yeah. I kind of get the feeling this will be the last big one. I could be wrong, but I just feel like it's the right time to go. So I just thought,
Yeah, I felt the same way. It was, it was sort of something I'd like to have done, and then I was like, oh yeah, that'd be good, and then
life gets in the way.
yeah, well, life got in the way, and then we sort of we ended up, having another baby and getting ready for that, and I just sort of went, and it was that thing where you kind of go, once you've resigned the fact that you won't go, you kind of go, oh, well, I would have really liked to have gone. Then you kind of, you have the regret already. And then my partner, Kat, was just like, yeah, just go. It'll be all right. I'm like, oh, okay. Well, I can't really pass up that opportunity now because and especially if I commit and do everything now, then it'll be too late to back out later.
That's right. Sleep when you're dead.
Yeah, so I wouldn't. Yeah, so I think there's going to be a lot of, because there's talk of, the queuing up overnight and all that kind of business, and how's that going to go, and is the hall big enough, then you might not have to do it, and all those sort of discussions and things, and which panels and how's that going to roll, and yeah, like I kind of feel like I'm kind of hoping that as we sort of mentioned, that the after stuff will be just as much fun as the stuff within the convention center. I think in the convention center there'll be certain, like I'm assuming you can't drink at the convention center.
I hope you can.
Yeah. Well, it'd be not that you need to go nuts or
Yeah.
anything, but it'd be nice to have a beer or two. Like I think at the one in London you could, but I think that's just so British that you just get beer everywhere. But I don't know whether they're going to let that one fly in Chicago and stuff. But so I'm sort of really looking forward to the sort of social other side of it as well, as much as the. Because the panels, you can see the panels anywhere, really. It'd be nice to be in that room when they drop a trailer, though.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Hopefully we get a trailer. Hopefully we get a 20-year Phantom Menace panel as well. They've got to do it. It's 20 years, so. I was just thinking about that, actually. Phantom Menace has sort of a great memories with me. I actually got together with my wife on New Year's Eve 98, 99, and so okay, I'll take a step back. New Year's Eve.
You're like, this year can't get any better.
No,
even if there's not even if there's a Star Wars movie coming, nothing will top this moment.
No. So I just realised after thinking about it, my wife and I have been together almost 20 years, and it was 98, 99 New Year's Eve that we were together. And we had an all-nighter in Sydney fireworks, and I think we slept out on someone's jetty.
All right. Sydney show off. We get it.
Blah,
We get
blah,
it.
blah,
Your fireworks, Sydney, and
Shelbyville,
yeah.
but so
Shelbyville.
Shelbyville fireworks. But we sort of did an all-nighter, and then we woke up. I think we slept on a jetty somewhere on the harbour. But then we thought, what are we going to do in the morning? We went and had breakfast, and then walking through the George Street cinemas. The cinemas opened at like 9:30, 10 o'clock. And I see the movie The Mask of Zorro there playing. And then it twigged. I went, actually, the Phantom Menace trailer is playing in front of The Mask of Zorro. And I said to my now wife, do you want to instead of going home, do you want to go and see a movie? And she's like, what the hell? What? And I said, no, there's a Star Wars trailer in front of this movie. I don't care about the movie. It's like Antonio Banderas and...
Talk about laying your cards on the table. Sure, you're going to be selling and going, hey, Antonio Banderas is in this. Rather than be like, hey, do you want to watch the Star Wars trailer?
and it actually worked because, 20 years later, we're still here and a couple of kids. And it's I was just thinking about that. So it's been 20 years since I think the Phantom Menace trailer, roughly around this time. Is that right?
Yeah, that sounds about right. Yeah.
So
I was discussing. Yeah.
And I've actually been watching those trailers again on YouTube. And do you remember there was a couple of 30-second sort of TV spots, but they were called, I think, what were they called? I think George Lucas called them tone poems. Is that right? I think there were some themes to them. I think, what was it? And there was like one love, one destiny, one truth. All these different 30-second TV spots.
That does sound familiar. Yep.
And
Yep.
yeah, look, I'm having a bit of a nostalgia trip here, but that time 20 years ago was a good time for me. I'm hoping for something like that at Celebration. Yeah, I mean, I've actually grown to love the Phantom Menace, especially since having a couple of young boys as well and seeing it through their eyes. So yeah, uh,
Did you show them that first, or did you kind of go show them the classics first and
classics
then
first,
work your way?
but yeah,
Yep.
they really enjoyed episode one, to be honest. But yeah, you always go release order.
Yeah, I'll do the same with,
Yeah,
with my daughter. I think we'll do that, even though she probably knows the sequel trilogy characters better. She knows Ray. Like that's the one that she sort of knows the most because she's got a couple of Ray dolls and stuff as well. Although she knows Princess Leia pretty well, and she knows Chewie and Yoda, and yeah. So I mean, she's only 3 though, so she doesn't know and Darth Vader as well. She really likes Darth Vader, but I don't think she knows much about what he's about. But so,
yeah,
how does your wife go with this? Obviously, from the jump, you flew your Star Wars flag,
pretty early on. Yeah,
and she's
yeah.
so she sort of came along to all this. You took her to Phantom Menace midnight and all that
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah. She went to the first couple of midnight sessions. I mean, she likes them. She'll watch them. But yeah, there comes
She
a point.
likes you more than she likes Star Wars.
That's right. That's right. I mean,
Yeah,
it's similar to cricket. She likes cricket, but she's not going to go to a test match for 5 days. So,
yeah.
but
Well,
yeah,
as in my partner, she loves cricket, so she's a MCC member and she goes to the cricket. Well, she used to before the kids, and she'd go every Boxing Day, and she's really into cricket and football and stuff. And Star Wars, she'll go along with, but she doesn't go to midnight. But she's happy to go, the week after.
yeah, yeah. So yeah, on the subject of midnight sessions, I think back to the question about my sons. I think yeah that they're not quite old enough for the midnight sessions. So what I tend to do is go midnight with friends, and then I'll pick the boys up from school or whatever, and then take them on the Thursday. I think it is the Thursday afternoon straight away, and see it straight away with them. But there'll probably be a time, maybe episode 9. I think my oldest son might come to the midnight session. I remember
Yeah.
seeing what's his name, Jacob down in Knox with his dad, Michael.
Oh, yep,
Yep, he
yep.
was actually on stage, but he was looking pretty tired towards the end. But yeah,
Yeah, look, it's a massive ask. It was I was pretty wrecked by the time. It's that weird feeling when you add the midnight one because you get sort of charged by the time you go in, and I've sort of said before that I came to Knox the first time for Force Awakens. I took some mates and didn't really know anybody, and we sort of hung out in the bar and chit chatted to a couple of people, and people sort of knew a little bit. And then by the time I got to Last Jedi, 2 years later, I sort of left my mates in the corner and was socializing with you guys and all the other people that I knew, and it was a completely different vibe and stuff. But you just get that sort of really nervous energy about the whole thing, and yeah, I remember sort of buzzing around and going inside to get my ticket, and when I just ran to Steele, and I think he'd just gotten off the plane and he'd already been up. He saw Last Jedi in LA, and he's like, "Oh man, dude, I'm so tired, but I've just got to push through. I'm here to see, I'm pumped to see the movie again." But I'm like, "Oh man, that's commitment. Like flying 24 hours and then having to be up, like not even getting a chance to sleep and having to still be up."
yeah.
It's
Look, Star Wars makes you
it's
do.
tough.
Star Wars makes you do these things. As I said,
Yeah,
just sleep when
exactly.
you're dead.
Yeah, that's right. So are you always the cheerleader for the screenings? You said you sort of did it with some mates and stuff. Are you always the guy like, all right, everybody, like this is the night. I'm gonna get the tickets. I'll get the seats. Were you always that guy? Eh?
No, usually another mate of mine gets those, but we always have debates over because we're kind of spread across Sydney, so different suburbs all over the place. So we kind of have to decide strategically where to meet. So we kind of go different
Mm-hmm.
cinemas every time. But yeah, it's more of we're all in different phases of our life. I've got older kids. Some of my friends have got younger kids, and we just have to kind of work around it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. I was always the sort of the cheerleader and the one who sort of organised everybody, originally. And then I suppose the last few movies a little bit, but it's been easier to go like this event's on in Knox. If you want a ticket, I'll get you a ticket. If you don't want a ticket, no
yeah,
worries.
yeah.
Although the last couple, I think the first time that we did it, the guys hung around for the like the Steel show afterwards, but I think they were just after a while going like we're just exhausted, we've got to go. And I think last year I just said I'll just get the movie, and then if you want to hang around, you can hang around. If you want to go home to bed, you can go home to bed. So
yeah,
it can be a big ask.
indeed, yeah. But we don't have to worry about that this year. So that's next year.
No, since I've got a kid that's just about to arrive, it's worked out quite well really, because we've got the we just put a timestamp on this that we were supposed to be going into hospital next Wednesday, which is the 5th of December, for a C-section for our baby because it's in breech. So for people who don't know what that means, it basically means babies usually come out head first, and this was up the wrong way, so it was going to come out feet first, and that's very dangerous way of doing it. So they basically just say, no, we'll do a C-section, we'll take the baby out. And we were sort of all mentally prepared for that, and I was like, all right, where we go. And then Kat, my partner, went to the hospital today to have a checkup, and they went, oh no, the baby's turned around now, so there'll be no C-section on Wednesday. You basically have to wait it out and wait for that baby to arrive. So it means that going from have a definite date to this sort of unknown thing now that we don't know when, it'll be, at the most a week after the due date. But had there been a Star Wars movie this year, it would have pretty much been right on the date the Star Wars. So it would have been episode 9 this year, and the exact same thing happened. They said, "Oh well, your baby's going to be out on the 5th." I'd be like, "Great, we'll get the baby out. That gives us 10 days to get settled, and then I can go off and see Star Wars," as opposed to, well, the baby might come out, and it could come out on episode 9.
It's pretty funny that we all frame our life decisions around Star Wars. It happens quite often.
That's the first thing that I was thinking of. But we are going to, a bunch of us down here in Melbourne are going to the MSO are doing Empire Strikes Back with the Melbourne Symphony Orchestra. And we did A New Hope. I think that was the start of this year, which was absolutely fantastic. So Empire is sort of my favourite, and my favourite score as well. So I'm really looking forward to that. But that's on the 16th, so that is right on due baby time, so there's a chance that I will not be attending unfortunately, but that's not quite the same as as good as that would be. Like, I have seen Empire Strikes Back. I do know what happens.
Yeah,
you have to
be that guy keeping their phone on in the middle of the symphony.
Oh, I know, and I would hate that because I get really thingy about people on their phones at events. Like, I don't even like people on their phones at gigs. That annoys me as well. Like, I get really about that as well. I don't know how you're still see a bit of live music. How do you go with that?
I used to take photos. Used to bring out my DSLR camera and sort of take photos for a few street mags. Maybe like 6, 7, 8 years ago. But I've given that up. But I'll typically take my phone out once, take a shot, and then put it straight away. That's all you need. All you need is one shot. One shot.
Yeah, that's it. I don't mind if you're lifting up, taking a couple of photos, but it's when you're sort of sitting there for the whole song with your phone in the air.
Yep.
That really bugs me. I went and saw Muse earlier. Was it earlier this year or end of last year with a mate of mine at the tennis centre? We went and saw them there. And there was a bloke in front of us who had his phone up the whole time, and there was a particular part, one of the songs, where it just absolutely kicked off, and the crowd went mental, and the crowd surged, and the phone just flew out of his hand, and just flew at about 10 people in front. And I'm going, well, sorry, dude, that's what you get.
It's your own fault. Yep,
it's your own fault. I didn't quite have the temerity to knock it out of his hand earlier, but I'm glad that the rock gods smiled upon me and sent his phone into the abyss.
Good times.
As much as that's what I like. That's what I like to think happened anyway. But you never know.
Yeah.
So episode 9, we'll quickly go over episode 9 before we sign off. But do you have any sort of hopes and dreams, or what you're kind of hoping to see, or are you sort of trying to keep an open mind, or you got it laid out in your head already?
No, I tend to not think about these things too much. One thing I would like to see, like I've been watching The Last Jedi quite a bit lately, especially I was watching Details commentary with Steele. I've actually watched.
So when you do that, do you just put the earphones in and just have it on the TV, or do you sort of play it through?
I just turn the TV down, sort of. Kids are asleep, turn the TV down, earplugs in. But I've watched that a couple of times. But one of my favourite things in The Last Jedi is Adrian Edmondson, Captain Peavy.
Vivian.
That's the only thing I want from him. Episode 9 is for him to return and look, have some bigger role there.
It's just sad that Rick Mayall's not around anymore,
Yeah.
isn't it? I would have just loved Rick and Aid Edmondson as Imperial officers or something, or even if Rick was a rebel officer and then, Aid Edmondson hit him over the head with a cricket bat or something.
No. Look, some of his acting in that is so good. Like just some of his eye rolls. He just does these classic eye rolls after, talking to Hux. I think his acting is very understated, but I've always got my eyes on Captain Peavy in The Last Jedi. So that's a bit of a...
Do you think he made it out alive?
I think he did, for sure, yeah. Wasn't he slammed against the wall by Kylo Ren? No,
was that him, was it?
Yeah, I think he was. Oh, maybe that was Hux.
No, I think that was Hux, but he wasn't the one who was like, right away, sir. Was he on the ground after that, or
I have to go back and check. I have to go back and check.
You better get that screening out. Yeah.
No, look, episode 9. I hope he makes it back. I had this other thing as well. It's a stupid theory of mine, and it's completely... Have you seen the movie The Brothers Bloom by Rian Johnson? It's his second movie, I think.
Is that one with Adrian Brody?
Yes. And I always kept thinking that Adrian Brody looks exactly like Kylo's brother. And I'm going, they should just cast Adrian Brody in episode 9 and make him Kylo's brother. They look so similar to me. Maybe it's just me, but I was actually watching that the other night, and that's the first thing that came to my mind is he looks very much like Kylo Ren or Ben Solo.
He's had a bit of a funny career, Adrian Brody, because he was an Oscar winner, wasn't he? Like he sort of he won a Best Actor Oscar, and then he sort of had these sort of interesting, like he was in King Kong, obviously, and then
that's right, yeah.
He was in, what did I see him in recently? What was he that I saw him in? Oh, I've lost it now. But yeah, he sort of weirdly pops up in these weird kind of films. He's probably not as A-list as he should be, but he's a very good actor, Adrian Brody. But yeah, look,
anyway, that's my hot
Why
take.
not?
Anyway, that's all I got.
That's your hot take. You just want to see Aid Edmondson and Adrian Brody. Who wasn't even. That's I don't really care about what happens. If Luke comes back or Yoda, we see Yoda.
Look,
I
care.
Darth Vader
I care,
or
but
Anakin,
I just think the story is going to be the story, and I'm not going to worry too much about it. It is what it is.
Yeah, look, until I think we'll get a title. We might get a title before Christmas. I reckon. Potentially, that might be the last little nugget for the end of the year to send us all home off. Coming into the Christmas, I'll be like, well, there's no movie, but I'm just trying to remember when. Well, we definitely had Force Awakens title before Christmas because the teaser dropped before Christmas. Remember Force Awakens had that little 1 minute one.
Yeah.
Before the trailer, and they didn't do that for Last Jedi, but I think we still even had the title of Last Jedi by then. So I have a feeling we might get a title, but I think that'll be about it, really. And then obviously Celebration. I mean, they'll just hit that. The same thing they had before Celebration will be the trailer or the teaser.
Yeah.
And then we'll get a little bit of idea about what's going on, what the direction is. But I don't know. They're the masters of misdirection, a lot of those Star Wars trailers anyway. So who knows?
Yeah. Yeah.
They always try to make you think one thing, and then The Last Jedi particularly as well. That was the real master of misdirection. Try to make you think one thing's going the other way when it was actually going the other way. But
that's exactly like the Brothers Bloom movie as well. I don't know if you've seen it, but yeah, Rian Johnson he's the master of misdirection. You should watch it again. It's some of the scenes are very Canto Bight-ish, like some of the casino scenes and those sort of things.
They're like hustlers or something, aren't they?
Yeah.
They're like two brothers who are hustlers or something.
Yeah, and there's lots of misdirection. It's kind of like, I wouldn't say Dirty Rotten Scoundrels, but that sort of thing. There's lots of hustling going on. And
does it have the monkey boy in it or whatever it is? No. That's always what I remember from Dirty Rotten Scoundrels.
No, lots of double crossing and triple crossing, and it's a good rewatch actually. But
I've definitely seen Brick and I've definitely seen Looper. I'm pretty familiar with it, so I feel like I must have seen it. But I used to got it mixed up with the Brothers Grimm. I used to always get it mixed up with that because there was the Terry Gilliam film, The Brothers Grimm, that had Matt Damon and Heath Ledger in it. I think, which isn't really spoken about very often. Which is, people could have, considering Heath Ledger only did so many films, that one kind of always falls under the radar. But I remember that being quite good. But
this has also got Mark Ruffalo in it and Rachel Weisz as well. So completely different movie.
Yes,
obviously.
All right, that's definitely worth. I'll definitely have to check that out now. That's the Turbo recommendation.
Yep, that is. Yep.
So just coming up to Christmas, is there any Star Wars requests for Christmas from the boys?
Or
is it more you pick out what you want?
I'll pick out what I want. No, the Lego set with the throne room battle scene with Snoke and Kylo and Rey. There's a new set out there, so yeah, I think that one is probably the go-to from my oldest son, and yeah, we'll see what else there is on the shelves.
See whatever Santa comes back. You were tweeting some pickups, some sweet pickups the other day, I think, if I remember correctly.
Look, I've got a bone to pick with you.
It was because I told you about the reject shop.
Yeah, ever since you told me about the reject shop, I literally go there like every 2-3 days at my local to see the stock, to see if I can get those $10 Black Series. But they're all gone. But there's still a few other ones, $5 ones.
Yeah,
here and there.
The $5 ones, and they've got the double pack of the 3-inch ones as well.
Yeah.
Which is sort of turning up, and all the Black Series seem to be exhausted. Although I've been to. I'm the same. If I go anywhere that's got a reject shop, I'll go in and I'll have a bit of a look around. There's been a couple sort of more further out suburban ones where the stock hasn't moved, but they've got some of the Black Series ones still. But if you I don't think they're getting anything new in. I think it's just whatever hasn't sold yet. It's just sitting there. But I'm hoping that the next wave doesn't sell and they end up on the shelves as well.
Yeah, I'm not the world's greatest collector. I'll just buy things and I go, $10, I'll buy that. I was in Japan last year and I bought a few SH figures, but just the ones I wanted. But I don't have a complete collection of anything, to be honest. It's just random bits and pieces.
No, me either.
Yeah,
I basically just go what's cheap and what looks good on the shelf, and my shelf's actually pretty full now, so it'll be a little bit more select. But I say that, but then, like I said, if the next wave of Black Series comes through Reject Shop and they're ones that I don't have, I'll probably succumb.
Well, my problem is shelves. I need to put some shelves up, but that's something I can do on my days off.
That's right. That's another project for you while you're on your gardening leave.
The other thing I'm doing is I don't know if you're the same, but my parents keep giving me boxes and boxes of things, that from their house.
They came around the other day and gave me all my CDs back.
Yeah, so I'm in my spare time and going through all that, but there's a few hidden treasures. I found my Phantom Menace figures unboxed. I found all my old Dark Horse series comics that I haven't touched for probably 20 years.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, lots of bits and pieces here. So I'm just going through that. So I'll post pictures of any interesting finds. But that's what I'm trying to do, and trying to cull a few things and give some to the kids and put up some shelves and
see if they're interested in a Senator Palpatine figure or a Captain Panaka or something like that. And
something like that, yeah. Rick Ollie.
Like if
I don't think I have a Rick Ollie.
Yeah, who wants a Rick Ollie? I got 4 Rick Ollies, 3 in the box.
Yeah.
It's like, don't you have any Darth Mauls? It's like, nah, all the Darth Mauls, they went day one. That's all we've got left, I'm afraid. Well, mate, thanks for taking the time to jump on. It's always a pleasure to talk to you, as always, and hopefully we'll we'll be at Celebration. You'll either be sleeping on my couch at Celebration, or we'll be sitting in some, I don't know, basement under the convention centre trying to get some sleep,
or in a pub somewhere.
Yeah, in a pub somewhere sounds nice too, but we've also got that. If anybody wants to follow you on the social medias, how do they go about that?
Probably, I don't use Twitter that much, but yeah, probably Twitter Turbo 1975. That's me.
Gives away all the crucial information there.
Yeah, that's the year of my birth. I'm older than Star Wars. That's what I always say. Older than Star Wars.
I'm just under as old as Star Wars. You can find our stuff at Star Wars spelt out at Gmail if you want to leave us a review. If you like Peppa Pig, I do a Peppa Pig podcast with our buddy Matt Frost, who just got a mention before, which is doing quite nicely. I probably should be plugging the Star Wars one on that and not the other way around, to be honest, because the numbers are much higher on the Peppa Pig one. I don't see if there's any crossover. But
You should do a crossover.
So thanks.
Are you going to do a crossover episode, maybe?
Well, I had Matt on when we did the first round of Peppa Pig ones we did. I had Matt on that time because we're just like, stuff it. We'll just keep recording as well, and then I can get one of the Star Wars ones in the bank. So that was slightly crossover. But I've already talked about how they need to do some Star Wars Peppa Pig crossover merchandise, but they're not returning our calls. They did. I did have the Peppa Pig official Twitter like one of my tweets the other day. So that's
look. I'd buy that merch for $5 or $10, no problem.
Yeah, $5 with the reject shop, and nobody buys it. That's right. Yeah, well, thanks again, mate, and I'll catch you soon.
Yeah, thanks for inviting me on the show. Cheers.
Anytime, mate. See you later.
All right, cheers. Bye.